But, Honourable Chair, let me open by stating clearly, neither I nor the Freedom Front Plus regard race as a social determinant. As my neighbour, an anthropologist who retired in Urania recently remarked, race doesn't count for much. It may assist in dealing with the climate, but that's all. It is culture that counts. Western civilization has often been said to stand on the three pillars of Jerusalem's religion, Athens' science, and Roman law. Some add a fourth, Germanic sense for organization. Colonization and conquest is characteristic of major powers all over history and all over the world. And indeed, the West had overextended itself until World War II. Yet, even after the empires fell, the era of globalization followed, especially since the 1990s, and it can be described as the world's voluntary acceptance of a superficial form of Western economy and lifestyle. Yet, in this superficiality, the West has gradually distanced itself from its pillars of existence. It has retreated into an increasing self-loathing mindset. During the Flawless campaign, many Westerners competed to fall first before they were asked to do so. In recent history, Europe followed social policies which can only be described as suicidal in the self-loathing spirit mentioned above. The pendulum was drawn so far that it would inevitably at some stage swing back. And that is what the recent election results in Europe and the USA signify. The constitutional jurist, Prof. Koos Malan, calls it the Paleo Revolution, a revolution back to the origins of Jerusalem, Athens, and Rome. That is not white supremacy. It is a remarkable rejuvenation of the Western spirit. Indeed, as a Google research shows, white supremacy does exist. It is on the margins of Western society. And to reduce the current renaissance of Western values to white supremacy is actually just intellectual laziness. It's a way not to seriously engage with it. Likewise, with the South African version of the story, Afrikaners maintained a minority government long past its shelf life, and oppression of black resistance was brutal. It crumbled under international pressure and own internal loss of credibility, although it was never even remotely near military defeat. After 1994, it was common for Afrikaners to distance themselves from their past and their identity, and just to try to excel as individuals, as the Honourable Smith presented it to us. Make yourself indispensable, and merit will always be recognized. It is 30 years on, and it's not working. Wherever Afrikaners prove to be indispensable, it is now declared untransformed. An Afrikaner asserting individual merit is a remorseless white supremacist. The underlying question is how to deal with South Africa as a multinational state. African nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and liberalism today expose their commonality to recognize only the individual and the state as legitimate political actors. That impoverishes public and political life and indeed leads to the totalitarian state. 30 jaar na die politieke nederlaag van 1994 het Afrikaners tot verhaal gekom. Afrikaners wil oor niemand anders heers nie, maar ons is ook nie vir onderhorigheid gebore nie. Om te wees wie ons is nie om enigiemand te haat of as minderwaardig te beskou nie. Met wederwysige erkenning kan ons saamwerk, of die regering kan voel hoe dit voel, om aan die verkeerde kant van 'n vryheidsstryd te wees. Dit is die keuse.